I've been wondering since the very beginning if Trayvon became disoriented because of the circumstances he was facing. And did he think he was closer to home than he in fact was? In other words, was Trayvon lost? I don't know how often Trayvon visited Sanford and his father's girlfriend's house, but it was far from his hometown, so I imagine he didn't visit often. I do know, however, that he visited the retreat at least once before. I imagine that Trayvon, being far from home, would have been driven most places while he was in Sanford. And when he was driven, I imagine he paid scant attention to the route. It's said that Trayvon walked to the convenience store at least one time before on the weekend he was killed. At what time of day he made that trip, I don't know. Now, the route from the convenience store to the gates of the retreat is landmark rich. There are stores along the way, and really it's one straight path. Once inside those gates, however, Twin Lakes doesn't make things easy. These housing developments, they insist upon uniformity. The houses are butted up against each other, matchboxes in rows, each one painted the same color. The craziest a resident can get in personalizing a house is choosing what kind and color car he parks in his driveway, what sort of patio furniture he has, and choosing whether to enclose his patio. On the night Trayvon was shot through his heart, he walked by the matchboxes all in a row, and it was dark, really dark. I looked and looked and couldn't find a single streetlight on the 3 roads of the retreat. At the retreat, it seems outdoor lighting is a charitable affair, given out of the goodness of the hearts of residents who choose to turn on their patio lights. And it was raining, so the moon gave no light, and Trayvon was scared because he was being followed. So what we have here is a boy in dark, on foot, in rain, versus man, dry, in truck, with headlights, on home turf. Did Trayvon get lost? I wonder if Trayvon, being damp from the rain, being under pressure from the creepy guy following him, having only a vague idea that his dad's house is the second one from the end, thought he was home. He told his friend on the phone with him that night that he was by his father's house, so he wasn't going to run anymore. But was he really by his father's house? Or was he by witness number 6's house, the second one from the end, just the wrong end? He had been walking for a while. Did he misjudge how close he was to his destination? Was Trayvon confused in the dark, being followed by a scary man who abandons his car on the side of the road to follow him? If what I speculate about here is what really happened, how far did Trayvon go? Did he walk up onto the porch of the wrong house and knock on the glass door? Or did he go up onto the porch and realize, still confused, that it wasn't familiar? And did Trayvon even know what Brandi's porch looked like? What would happen if, and I do mean if, because this is only speculation, what would happen if Trayvon had knocked on the wrong patio door? Would the occupant inside look out? And what would happen when the occupant looked out and saw a boy he didn't know standing there? If that is what happened, what would Trayvon do then once he saw someone he didn't expect? When the creepy man, George, comes into sight, does Trayvon believe the man has followed him right to his very door? There are several theories out there on exactly what happened that night. My own speculation here is based on Trayvon's friend saying adamantly that Trayvon was by his father's house. She said he was by his father's house when she heard a verbal confrontation. Some people take that to mean that Trayvon was actually by his father's house, on the other end of the row of houses, or that perhaps his friend on the phone is mistaken. But what if Trayvon only thought he was home? The other factor is that witnesses say the verbal confrontation occurred at the T on the other end from where Trayvon lived. Trayvon's friend says he was running, then he was by his father's house. Then she heard someone say, "What are you doing around here?" Which matches up with what witnesses believe they heard at the T, but on the other side of the houses. There are problems with this scenario. Please go right ahead and tell me every single reason why you think this might be wrong. And thank you guys for listening.